name's Matt Henderson. I'm the business lead for Stripe in the EMEA region. And I spend a lot of my time focused on product and engineering and also helping to make sure that we serve our users well in the region.
Awesome. Okay, so that brings us to our topic, which is an EMEA thing. You guys just acquired Paystack about a week ago, which I believe is your first acquisition. You guys have made a lot of investments before, but I couldn't remember any big acquisition that Stripe has done in the past. What made that the right decision for this market for you guys for expansion?
Well, this is, we've done acquisitions before at Stripe, but this is certainly the largest acquisition that we've done. There's a few things that made it a compelling move for us. Like, one is just we're so bullish on Africa as a region. It's clearly growing extremely quickly as an economy. Africa has like 17% of the world population now, but only like 2% of the population that's making transactions. So it just has this great like internet economy catch up to do. That means that we're really drawn to working on the internet infrastructure of the continent. So we're drawn to the region, but it's also the case that we're just incredibly excited about Paystack as a company and as a team. It's a hugely talented group, and they have built a great set of products already. They themselves have grown tremendously from their launch 5 years ago, and so when we think about building the economic infrastructure for Africa's internet, Paystack is really a great partner to work with on that.
Got it. So you guys obviously have a very talented team at Stripe across the world. Why was an acquisition the way to go versus just building something yourself?
Well, the progress that Paystack has made, they have built up a team now of over 100 people, and they also have a very large number of users in the region, and they are already accounting for literally sort of half or more of the internet transactions in Nigeria. They're moving into new countries with their launch in Ghana. They've already got a pilot going now in South Africa. So they've made a lot of progress, which is appealing to us. But also, this organization they've built is world class. We could not have a better team to work on building out Stripe in Africa, and so we're excited for them to be the ones that are doing it.
What are some other regions that we might want to keep an eye on where an acquisition might make more sense than you guys trying to build something yourself there for expansion?
Well, I think if you look at our country expansion so far, we're in 42 countries. The default mode is to do it organically and do it through the teams executing at Stripe. And Paystack, I think, was really a rarity in the sense that they've made so much progress so quickly, and we felt that it was a better move to make the acquisition. So I don't think that this approach of country expansion through acquisition will be like a playbook that you see us repeating a lot around the world. I think that the default mode will continue to be organic.
Got it. How have payment rails, I've never been to Africa before, but how have payment rails there developed differently than in some other countries that we've seen? And how has Paystack navigated that, where they were sort of the best in class team?
Yeah, well, so one of the principles that's very consistent is trying to reduce the amount of work that a user, that a merchant has to do to implement payments. And that was really the basis of Stripe's beginning. And it was also the basis of Paystack's value proposition when they set out. The way that the products have been built is similar in some respects in the way that APIs work and so on. The fact that that cards are still an important factor of the payment ecosystem in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa. But there are also differences. So one difference is that there are some other payment methods that are present that are local payment methods that Paystack supports that are popular in the region. In Africa, as you may know, the use of mobile money is very popular, and we don't have the sort of a large present for something similar in other parts of the world. And then the actual way that users implement is slightly different as well. You know, with they have a very popular product now, Paystack Commerce, which is a way for people to create hosted product pages and implement a hosted solution, which is something different that Stripe doesn't have, but is proving very popular with their users in Nigeria. So some similarities, some differences.
Right. Regulation there is also something that is very interesting, and there's a lot going on in that environment. How did that sort of play out in your decision? Because it seems like it would have been pretty tricky for Stripe or anyone else for that matter that hasn't navigated that market in terms of the regulations to really get in and get going very quickly, because there's a lot to go through there.
I think local expertise certainly helps with something that is a regulated environment. That's true all over the world. What also I think that it's a very diverse continent and a diverse region, and so I think that will also be true as they pursue the path of expanding Paystack through the region. Then there'll also be complexity to solve. And it's one of the things that, if you look around the world, payments has evolved in a way that's been a function of it being initially a domestic industry, and so the regulations differ by country, the payment methods differ by country, and actually a big part of Stripe's mission is to help overcome that complexity for users and try to make globalization that much easier. And so, even though ostensibly we live in this world with a global internet, like commerce is still very held back by the fact that users have to go through red tape, and they find it hard to start accepting payments in different countries. And as we launch new countries, and as we with Paystack, we start to extend services to more parts of Africa. One of the things we're excited about is helping users in Africa to access the global market, helping users in other parts of the world have access to the market in Africa as well.
How should we think about the pace of innovation in this market for you guys then, with the regulations and everything going on?
Oh, one of the things I'm excited about is that the pace of innovation, I think, will, the startup entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Paystack, and they're moving fast. So, the speed with which they are launching new products, entering new countries, it's impressive by anyone's standard, and I think that we are going to learn as much from them and be really admiring of that speed and innovation. And I think that it will continue to be high.
In terms of the innovation too, how will mobile wallets play into this in the future? Is it more of a threat or a partner?
So mobile wallets and other payment methods, there's a lot of fragmentation around the world, and what we've found as users want to address a more global audience for their market, that means that the payment method fragmentation gets greater as well, because you now have a much more diverse customer base. We're believers in anything that helps businesses to accept money from a larger market is in a way that's trustworthy and easy, is something that's great for the internet economy. And so as a result, we try to work with a growing number of payment methods, and whether it's wallets or mobile money or cards as payment methods. If end customers want to use them because they have some particular advantage and they're working well, then that's a good thing. And I think in the future we will work with more and more of them.
In terms of switching gears just a little bit, but obviously sticking to mobile payments and other payments, I'm more familiar with how COVID has impacted how we pay in the US. How has this impacted other geographies that you guys operate in, though, Africa included?
Yeah. So, well, maybe, you're aware of the US. Maybe I'll start in Europe first before getting to Africa. So, we've certainly seen that the transition of buying behavior from the offline economy to the online economy has accelerated. In the UK, for example, in February, pre-COVID, something like 19% of retail sales were online. But then a couple months later in May, once it was more in sort of a peak, hopefully the peak of COVID, that had jumped to 33% of online commerce. So a big shift that would have otherwise taken years was happening in more like weeks. So there's certainly been a shift. We also saw a surge in the number of users that signed up, businesses that were going online and accepting payments online for the first time. So that has happened in Europe. In Africa, it's a diverse place. So there's certainly regions that we're not in yet, and countries that we're not in yet, and the same is true of Paystack. But there has been a similar compression of a move from offline to online, and that has been accelerated by COVID.
Got it. How has that changed your product or service timeline for anything, or your priorities in terms of what you guys are looking at over the next 12 to 18 months?
So in the short term, one of the things that really was clear to us in February and March is we saw the way that the world was changing and the severity of the situation. One of the things that it just really impressed upon us the importance of serving these businesses that are newly coming online, and really impressed upon us the role that we play in providing infrastructure that people's livelihoods depend on. And so it actually, I think, really galvanized us in the mission and the way in which it's important for our users. And that also had some influence on how we thought about our roadmap and the things that were important to build. Things like making sure that our infrastructure and our service is as reliable as it can be, making sure that the way that users onboard and experience Stripe for the first time is as easy and intuitive as it can be, so that they can get up and running. Some of these things were sort of reinforcing values that were already important to us, but just even increased their importance further. Over the next, it's taking a longer term view of the roadmap over the coming months and years. It spurred us on to try to move faster. And before or just as COVID hit, the company raised more money, and at that time we said that this was money that we wanted to use to invest in country expansion, and also in making sure that we are really kind of doubling down on the internet economy at this time that it's becoming more important. And so you will see us continuing to move fast and moving fast because we're well resourced to do so. And the Paystack acquisition is an example of that.